It's really great when you can find an anime that's really awesome and wholesome. My Happy Marriage is that anime. This show was something that came on my radar because of my wife, and now me and my wife have some common interest in anime, but she's someone that likes the floofy la la anime, more like on the like shoujo seinen type side of anime, but she's put me onto a few different shows like Ouran High School Host Club and Fruits Basket. But My Happy Marriage is a show that immediately just grabbed my attention. My Happy Marriage revolves around a girl named Mio Saimori who, in a world where magic and supernatural things exist, she is born without powers or the ability to see anything the natural eye can't see. And because of this, she is treated terribly by her family, who looks down on her for not being born with certain abilities and forced to be a servant for her family, which sucks. One day, when she is able to become married, her father arranges a marriage with Kyoko Kudo, who supposedly is like a terrible fiance due to his other engagements running off to not be with him. And with no hope to even a shred of a better life with her family, she goes with the plan because she's expected to be treated terribly. But when she gets there, she realizes that Kudo isn't what people would describe him out to be, but he's kind and gentle, a person who she quickly falls for, and the same vice versa. There was a point in like the first or second episode where Kudo thought that his fiance was going to try to poison him, which is mad wild because Mio is like the sweet, innocent girl. But in the show, you soon find that Mio and Kudo adore each other, and she's having so much of a better life than she could have ever imagined. Like, the whole Kudo house loves her and practically is at her beck and call. And this all takes a turn because Mio ends up running into her family she never thought she would see again, and her sister, who is like the biggest hater ever, finds out she has a better life than her. Goes to even more of an extreme where she realizes that Kudo actually loves Mio, and the fact that this dude is super handsome and powerful, she gets jealous, and there ends up being like this whole plot with the Tuishi family to try and arrange a marriage with them because they believe that Mio has like some secret hidden power that her mother's family had for generations. Like I'm talking, they kidnapped Mio and tried to get Mio to renounce her engagement with Kudo. Her sister, her mother had her all tied up, talking down to her, cutting clothes that her man's bought her. Like, these women are terrible because they just think that Mio doesn't deserve to be happy. And so Kudo comes in guns blazing because he wanted his woman back. Like, I forgot to mention that Kudo, he's just the strongest person in the land. So picking a fight with dude was kind of wild. Like, why would you do that? But he ends up rescuing Mio from his stepsister and mother and puts them in their place. Like, yo, this is my woman and I'm about mine. And if you're trying to get it, we can get it. He was on that type of energy where he was willing to go to war for his woman. If you don't get someone like that, put him back. For me, this was so cool to see because I'm like someone who loves action anime mostly, but I'm glad there's a mix of it in there. And this show automatically gives off sort of like the Disney princess type vibes, which I know in the West right now people don't like it, but you know, these stories will always be around. Everyone doesn't have to bow the knees to the West. That action is strictly for Jesus, but I'm enjoying the show, or I was enjoying the show. Actually, I can't even watch it anymore because Netflix kicked us out because we were sharing accounts. Is there another way to watch this show? Yeah? I love how satisfying it is in the show to see Mio be treated so well for like all that she endured by her family. I'm glad that she's being cared for by someone who like treasures her regardless of the power she doesn't have, or so it seems, because these clans, they're going through a lot to try and acquire someone who doesn't have magical gifts. But in my opinion, My Happy Marriage is a picture of the Christian story. Now, before I go off on me inserting my Christian ideals in this beloved anime, hear me out. I believe that the anime that we see can point us to the relatable things in our lives. And just because it's an anime that has things that may not be about God or Christianity, or maybe even they may be against those things, doesn't mean God can't use them to glorify himself. Throughout the Bible, God constantly used things and people that people of the time thought were bad or not okay to do. Think about Paul in Acts 17 talking about the Stoics and the philosophers and using their terminology to point them to the one true God. And he did this by claiming that the unknown God was God. But think about it. Throughout the whole anime, Mio is treated terribly by her family. She gets the short end of the stick constantly. She sees herself as lesser and gets treated that way because she doesn't have any abilities or gifts. She has a horrible family. But then she meets Lord Akudo, someone who is perceived to be a cruel person, but we come to find out that honestly, Kudo is everything that you could want. Someone strong, someone kind, they care and are willing to go the distance to have Mio as his wife. In the same way, in this human life, we can be treated terribly by things or people that should love us, but they don't. We live in a broken world tainted by sin, and the outcome of that is being ruled by the things that only want to harm us. Yet God saw this and said that he was going to intervene. Our sin, the world, Satan, all of these things, God decided to step in and liberate us. And he did this by sending his son Jesus to live the perfect life you and I could not live, to die the death that we deserve, and then he rose from the dead. Colossians 2, it says this, "And you who were dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made alive together with him, having forgiven all of our trespasses by canceling the record of debt that stood against us with its legal demands. This he set aside, nailing it to the cross. He disarmed the rulers and authorities and put them to open shame by triumphing over them in him." See, just like Kudo, who went off trying to get Mio back after she was kidnapped and given back to her terrible family, he rescues her, defeating the threats that stood in his way. Jesus comes on the scene and says, everything that has been hurting you, the ruler of this world, the things that have kept you in bondage, I'm going to come and set you free. I'm going to save you. And through my death and resurrection, I will do this. But I think what's most significant of a parallel I see between My Happy Marriage and the Christian story is that Kudo loves Mio despite her background. He doesn't look at her differently because she doesn't have magical powers or anything like that, even though she does. But he wants to be with her despite all of that. In the same way, a lot of people can have objections to Christianity because they feel like they need to have it all together. Or they have experienced Christian people in a negative way and felt like God wouldn't love them because of certain things they have done. In My Happy Marriage's case, people misunderstand and don't actually know God for who he actually is. Jesus loves you despite all of that. Jesus takes broken people and says, I'm going to die for them. I'm going to make them whole. This love is so great and vast that Jesus said he would take your place and call you his own. Yes, God is holy. God is righteous. God is the ultimate judge. But he's also good. More good than you and I could ever imagine. He's loving, gracious, and he wants to be in a relationship with you, with us. Lord Kudo saving Mio is a picture of how Jesus came for his bride. Would you trust him today? Hey, if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have a relatable anime character or a show that you would want me to cover, comment in the links below or in the comments below. And I'll catch you in the next video.